Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Propagandacast with me, ImperialDane, and today we have a 1 versus 1 for you on Angoville. Yes, indeed, it is good old Angoville. Favorite, apparently, of some players. I like it, although I do personally prefer Cherbourg myself. I rather like that quaint sort of village right in the middle with the cemetery. But nonetheless, let's get on with this, shall we? Angoville, of course, rather devise a road through everything, bocage to sort of cover the sides, making getting from one side of the map to the other slightly more difficult, and of course, these spots being really good for mining. And who do we have right here up in the left, or the bottom half? We have Graab, Captain Graab of the 4th Infantry Division. Of course, I can't say what his real rank is, since this was in fact, I bet, a Smurf. The Smurf account is, for those that don't know, the sort of fellow who can't really like taking risks on the major one, where they might actually have gotten like, say, 11, 12, 10 or something like that, and instead they create a new one to sort of try and do all sorts of new things instead of sort of just manning up and taking it on the main one. And so they sort of try to gain all the advantages, of course, by being a low account, beating up the taller one, the higher ones, with something new. Yet, at the same time, if they do lose, there's basically no risk for them. So it's sort of a weird thing, and of course you'll also find some people of less honorable types may also be using Smurf accounts to sort of further their questionable agendas. And in the northern half, who do we have? None other than Oberstein, the ever-dashing Dane of the 331st Grenadier Division, ready to show those cowboys how really to play war. So let's get on with this, shall we? No mucking about and whatnot. Usual Wehrmacht quarter start from my side. Pioneers on the way as well in the southern half. You're of course seeing no engineers dashing about, not setting our barracks. My goodness, what could this mean? We will have to find out. Probably will be seeing a second engineer team. There we go, and a third one on the way already. My goodness. Could this be some sort of 4 engineer start? That would be interesting for sure. But certainly your unusual start, since he's not opting for riflemen right away up barracks as well. Of course, I go the usual Wehrmacht quarters, getting some Volksgrenadier out. Always nice that. And we are seeing further engineers, and no, not opting for 4th team, but instead going straight for the weapon support center. This is certainly a bit unusual, not the 4 engineer sniper start. Could it be he's going for some sort of other weapons support center start, which can really be a bit dangerous, because you might end up getting outflanked and picked apart. And there we go, Volksgrenadiers hitting the field. 331st being one of the divisions serving near the beaches of Normandy. It also had one of its Panzerjägerabteilung actually switched out with Stugs, since it couldn't really get any hold of the usual Panzerjägers at that time, which would have been Marder 3s or 2s. So they had to do with a Stug Abteilung, which had been transferred over from Russia, in fact, and it was composed, in fact, of Stug 4s, I believe. And we are seeing engineers moving about here, securing the eastern territory and the western. I'm here setting up some barbed wire to protect this strategic point. Of course, remember, these 4 points are, of course, of keen interest to the opponents, and of course, trying to make them a bit harder to get is generally a good idea. Not a bad idea. Why on earth would it say it was a bad idea? A bad idea would it be ignoring such a thing? But nonetheless, we are seeing, what is this? A heavy machine gun team? That's certainly a bit awkward, and it's not the usual thing you see. I'm of course expecting riflemen, because when do you often see weapon support center starts? Well, barely. In particular, not on this map. We see the 30 caliber machine gun team just moving about. Team laden with ammo belts of 30 caliber ammunition, and my goodness, they're just continuing onwards. At any moment they could be caught out there and gunned down most horrifically, but no, instead they do manage to set up here, getting a sort of covering position of this part and this part, but of course not being able to cover this part. Well, at the same time, I'm just sort of carefully advancing with my Volksgrenadiers. One setting up some swift defenses, while the other one goes after these engineers, who I figured would be there. Volksgrenadiers moving in for the kill. 1 engineer down. Further Volksgrenadiers marching in with their Kar 98 Kurz rifles, and of course a few STG 44s in single fire mode. One engineer left and gunned down by the heroic Volksgrenadiers. And my goodness, a second heavy machine gun opening up on the Volksgrenadiers. Of course, I'm quick to split the moment. Of course, the 30 caliber isn't so quick to suppress. And there we go, flanking maneuver. Pioneers from the north, Volksgrenadiers from the south. And the 30 caliber will be forced to retreat. There we go. Volksgrenadiers taking up positions, firing on those dastardly heavy machine gunners as they run. Not doing any kills, and of course spotting that there's a heavy machine gun team, I quickly go for a bike, since I want something mobile, something that can, for example, catch those heavy machine gun teams if they're out in the open. And of course, because I'm expecting something else as well, which you also usually see with this, at least if your opponent is at least slightly competent, snipers. Yes, snipers, god, I hate them. And of course, every opponent knows that you will hate them just as much as he hates them when you use them against him. But here Bike is taking on these engineers, doing a bit of harassment. Sunda Bike to the rescue with the LMG-42, doing a bit of damage to these engineers, and once more catching this heavy machine gun off guard again. A reason you don't want to be sending them without support. They can of course be caught out in the open, in which case they are rather useless. But now we have a sniper there opening up on my poor Volksgrenadiers. But they continue the task of harassing. Not going to be stopped by this. And yes, we do hear the sergeant of the Volksgrenadiers that they are using snipers. The assholes are using snipers, which perfectly mirrors my thoughts on snipers. Bike on the move, doing a bit of patrolling, of course, realizing that down there is that dastardly sniper. So what do, we send the Bike down to hunt the bugger down and finish him once and for all. And going straight from the creek barracks, of course, knowing that this sort of strategy is usually a attempt at, of course, a delay strategy, in which case he'll go straight for vehicles of some sort afterwards. And sniper caught by the Bike, but Bike doesn't manage to do much. Sniper gets away, same does that engineer, and heavy machine gun sets up to cover their retreat alongside that machine gun emplacement. But Bike is wise and gets out of there. Klaus is of course a good motorcycle driver and of course won't fall into such traps. Pioneer sneaking about here, doing a bit of harassment there, of course staying short to stay out of range of that heavy machine gun. Of course I could lunge in with some sort of larger movement towards here, because, well, there's absolutely nothing. Again, the sort of resources he's investing into this, of course, is leaving him rather open. In fact, particularly now he has 2 snipers and 2 heavy machine gun teams, but only 2 engineer teams to support all those heavy machine guns and snipers, which of course is also limiting the amount of territory he can actually seize, and of course the amount of cover he can provide. And there we go, Sniper Koenig, getting a sniper myself, figuring that might as well be the good thing to do. And Bike almost down. Volksgrenadiers getting sniped, oh my goodness, and my sniper not getting the final shot. Of course I already there made a bit of a basic mistake in the art of sniping and counter-sniping. I gave away my own sniper too quickly. And when you're dealing with snipers and generally want to drop on them, you don't want to give away, you have one yourself. In that case, the best tool in counter sniping is the act of surprise, in which case you're catching your opponent and making him go, oh dear. Of course now he's aware of it, and of course will be more careful with his snipers around the front line. Engineers pushing through here though, taking back this point. Of course I do have some mines there. And Krieg barracks going off, of course expecting some sort of armored car rush, but clearly he's spending his manpower on other things like engineers, heavy machine guns and snipers, not really on things that might further his course. Heavy machine gun setting up, moving in for a swift counter-attack, at least hoping to dislodge any forces. Engineers being caught out in the open. Bike taking quite a bit of fire, oh dear, getting torn apart, but discovering the sniper. Heavy machine gun though is up in a rather covering position. This is not good. Looks like this assault will be in fact torn apart. Engineers with flamethrowers rushing in, not looking good for anyone. And a full retreat is done here, realizing I can't hold the situation. And an attempt at the American sniper, taking out my sniper, but thankfully he misses. And we are seeing some further Volksgrenadiers moving in to rather try and cover up the situation. Pack 38 on the way, as always, good job. And a fresh Bike being sent out to replace the lost one. I'm really keen on getting that bastard of a sniper. And of course now setting up here, covering position for this area. Not an entirely bad spot, of course, if I were to somehow hook around here. Of course, the heavy machine gun won't be of much use.
We're losing territory.
And pioneers moving in, some with flamethrowers, some with minesweeper equipment, of course expecting that perhaps my opponent has decided to lay down some mines, which of course is not a bad assumption, but in this case I don't believe he's actually laid down mines at any point. And by joining up with the Volks Grenadiers moving in from the east, sort of expecting that he might have some sort of heavy machine gun there, as it's a bit of an obvious spot in fact. And bike moving in. Volks Grenadiers though getting suppressed, but the bike does the job. Continues firing, not stopped by flames, and my goodness, going for blitzkrieg and assault, lobbing enough grenades there to clear out a large trench, knocking out the heavy machine gun engineers. Not making out of the engineer team number 2, might not make it out of there as well. In fact, looks like he might be losing 2 engineer teams. In fact, there we go, leaving behind the sniper. And of course a little trick, you can click on this little unit snipe thing, meaning in fact it will continue to follow him. And that's also something you have to of course be aware of, that your opponent can do. So if that ever happens and he's sort of, oh where, he keeps finding my sniper after he's shot, then he's doing that. He's not some sort of sorcerer using the dark art of technomancy to outwit you. He's basically just using the rules of the game to sort of find your sniper. Heavy machine gun being recruited in the name of the fatherland. 30 caliber now in the hands of the Volks Grenadiers, setting up in a nice position here. Rather nice covering in fact, and with the sniper nearby as well to sort of stop any counter snipes and just generally be a bastard. Further here we are seeing more snipers. Sniper everywhere. And we are seeing a motor pool going up. Pack 38 here in a sort of reserve position, since I have no idea where his Greyhound might be coming from, and I'm of course expecting eventually he will be sending one in. It's only a matter of time. And looks like the sniper was actually killed. My goodness, I must have missed that. But good for me. Mortar moving in, but choosing the wrong path. I'm a bit unattentive there. And